Imagine something so ordinary. Something that finds its way onto your table every single day. Something that smells like fresh bread, like home, like life itself. Now imagine that under the right conditions, that very same substance could become a bomb. Minneapolis, 1878. The Washburn A mill stood as an industrial fortress. But the real enemy was already inside. It had no face, it made no sound, it was floating in the air. And then, one tiny spark turned a symbol of American industry into an inferno. How could something so small destroy something so enormous? On Western Frame History, we uncover the true story of dust in the air. The Washburn A mill disaster. In 1878, Minneapolis was not yet a modern city. It was a machine, and its engine was flour. Wheat entered as grain, it left as wealth. Between them, there were men, water, stone, metal, and dust. No one saw it as the enemy. Dust was simply part of the job, or so they believed. The Washburn A mill stood beside the river. 7 stories, granite, wood, iron, noise. The largest flour mill in the world. The name Washburn became synonymous with the promise of industrial scale. The danger was never hidden in some dark corner. It was in plain sight. So ordinary that it no longer looked dangerous. The tragedy did not begin with fire. It began with normality. With a city proud of its industry, with a machine that seemed invincible, with men who believed they would finish their shift and return home. One hour later, not one of those 14 men would still be alive.
You want to say? Just not get right.
It's not wrong enough, eh?
To become an explosive, flour alone is not enough. It must break apart into millions of extremely fine particles. It must remain suspended in the air. It must mix with enough oxygen. It must become trapped inside an enclosed space where pressure can build. And then it needs only a spark. In a kitchen, a spoonful of flour seems completely harmless. But inside a 7-story mill, that same flour transformed into an invisible cloud could behave with the force of an explosive. What made the dust dangerous was not the flour alone, it was the air. When millions of particles remain suspended inside a building, each one can ignite almost at the same time. And in that instant, fire stops behaving like fire. It becomes an explosion. Many of history's greatest industrial disasters did not begin with an explosion. They began with a decision that seemed too small to matter.
Keep it moving! It's running dry. Then watch it.
With a sound too faint to stop an entire factory. With a vibration no one believed was
It was
important.
just another insignificant decision, buried beneath the weight of the grind.
With the hope that the machine would endure just one more shift. In just a few minutes, there would be no way to stop it. The first explosion was not the end. It was the beginning. The moment an invisible danger revealed its true power. The blast was heard as far away as St. Paul. Many believed the earth itself had shaken, but it wasn't the ground. It was flour. Every one of the 14 men inside the mill was killed. The fire spread to neighboring buildings. The disaster was only beginning.
Dear God. The mill is gone.
The Diamond and Humboldt mills were consumed by the chain reaction. 18 people lost their lives. And in a single night, Minneapolis lost nearly 1/3 of its milling capacity. The invisible enemy had finally revealed itself.
You go in there, you don't
Not
come
as
back.
dust, but as fire, as pressure, as stone hurled
You
across
go in
the
there,
city.
You don't come back.
That night, the names were counted before the bodies. And then, one impossible question remained. How could flour explode? The city struggled to describe what had happened, but even words seemed too small. There had been no public warning, no visible enemy, no one to accuse. only a factory that had exploded from within. And amid the ruins, one question began to grow. How could flour explode? The first instinct was to look for familiar answers. Sabotage, a boiler failure, an accidental fire, divine punishment. But the answer was not a bomb, nor a criminal hand. It was something everyone had been breathing for years. The investigation eventually pointed to flour dust. The leading explanation was physical, not mysterious. Two millstones running dry had rubbed together. A tiny spark ignited the suspended dust. A spark alone cannot destroy a mill, but inside a combustible cloud, it can turn the air itself into a weapon. The mill still running, dust floating, stone grinding, a spark being born. Then the ruins.
The spark
Silence,
alone does not destroy.
ash,
It is the suspended
names.
cloud that turns the air into an explosive weapon.
The danger is in the mixture. When combustible dust is suspended in air, every particle is surrounded by oxygen. If ignition happens at the wrong moment, the flame does not crawl. It races. And inside a closed structure, sudden pressure is what breaks walls.
The disaster forced an entire industry to confront what had always been right in front of it. Dust was not just dirt. It was fuel. And in the wrong place, in the wrong concentration, at the wrong moment,
But not
it
the
could
same.
kill like dynamite. No speech could bring the dead back, but one decision remained. Rebuild. Not simply bigger, safer. The question was no longer what had happened. The question was what had to change so it would never happen again. The Washburn A mill was rebuilt. By 1880, a new mill stood where the old one had fallen. It was stronger, more efficient, and built with a new understanding. Engineers had learned that the greatest danger had never been the machinery itself. It was the dust. The explosion of 1878 did not end flour milling in Minneapolis. It changed it forever. After that night, flour could no longer be seen only as food. It had become something else, a fuel waiting for the wrong moment. The city continued to grow. Flour continued to travel. The name Washburn endured, but beneath every story of industrial progress, another story remained. The story of 14 men who walked into a night shift and never came home. Of 4 more whose lives were claimed as the fire spread beyond the mill. Of families who waited beside the ruins, and of a city that discovered progress could carry its own catastrophe.
Looks like snow.
The most dangerous killers do not always have a face. They do not always walk through the front door, and they do not always carry a weapon. Sometimes they are hidden inside the ordinary, in the air we breathe, in the things we choose to ignore. In something so small it seems harmless. Sometimes danger doesn't hide in the darkness, it floats in plain sight, waiting for the right mixture, the right enclosure, the right spark. And sometimes it simply waits suspended in the air,